From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation on tonight. Actually, tonight's going to be a real good one, Actually, at the tail end of the show, of last week's show, Shannon posed a question to me. And I'll bring her in so she could actually explain that question and this topic. What's going on, Shannon?
Hey, good evening. What is it?
What's going on, Dee?
Hey.
What's going on? So, dating or marrying up?
Mm-hmm.
That was a question on the tail end of the show last week. What was the kind? You said it was some type of conversation you had with one of your friends.
Yes, it was, and as a matter of fact, it was about because I think we were having a discussion, and we were talking about dating, and I was talking about things, I just not wanting to settle, and he focused on that word, and he brought it up, and he said that men settle all the time. That basically it's usually the man. It's usually that women tend to date up, and that men have to date or marry down, because they generally are the ones who are bringing the bigger bank account, so to speak, more stability, things of that nature. And I just thought it was just an interesting perspective, because I had never really thought of it that way. But I guess I can see to a certain extent, and I think it's more so kind of like almost like I don't want to say maybe not cultural, but kind of a social norm where women, we look for the men, the strongest of the species, so to speak. So the ones who have the ability to provide and to protect and things of that nature. So I guess that's kind of the sense of dating or marrying up, so to speak.
Well, according to Duke University Press, that in 2017, it started up. It ramped up. So apparently I was ahead of my time. But they said that, most women, historically, you guys know as well, you guys know, and the audience know that that's been a woman's thing for a while, marrying up. That's where the term came from, women actually going in and marrying up, choosing a man of a different social status and what have you. So according to Duke University Press, it said there are now more highly educated, unmarried women out there in the wild than there are men, all the same. As a result, more men are marrying up, while more women are marrying down. Less than educated, lower paid men. That's from Duke University Press, 2017. I find that interesting, and actually, when you posed the question to me, I sent the clip over to Morgan, and we got a chuckle out of it, and we had a conversation at length about your topic, right? So I told her, and I had never told her that before about marrying up, but we had a great topic we had a conversation about that. But before we do that, I went from a nurse to an executive. My first wife was a registered nurse. I went from a nurse to an executive. So I didn't see anything wrong with that because, first of all, I have very good taste. First of all, very good taste. But I've never dated down. Never. Not even in grade school or high school. I always wanted the hottest girl.
But is hot up, or is that like, how does...
I said that just the hottest girl, but the more I was more attracted to an intellectual conversation, what's between the shoulders, rather what's what's your shape like and all this other stuff. She's
Really?
highly intelligent.
Is that what the fleas were all about? Or did the fleas have a lot between the shoulders?
First of all,
I'm just
nah, not
asking.
at all.
I'm just asking. I mean, it was.
Again, just like I said last week, those were jump offs. Had nothing to do with dates at all. There's a difference. The guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So D, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm
So
good.
good. So let me get back to the conversation about marrying up and what have you. So we had this conversation at Lent, and I asked her. I mean, I told her exactly what she saw the clip. I sent the clip that I sent out. She saw the clip,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, "You know what?" She said, "I could agree with that, but you and I were a team. We knew exactly what we wanted." She said, I said, well, what did I bring to your life?" She said, "Well, you had your own, but you brought balance to my life.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, I leveled completely up when she and I got together. I went into a whole complete different circle, totally different. And to be honest with you, I learned a lot and navigated through life going forward off of the way she was moving and within our relationship. So I'm not ashamed to say that at all, not at all. So I married up, dated up, and leveled up all at the same time. And I don't see anything wrong with that for the fellas out there doing it. And you guys have to understand that high hanging fruit is real. It's not that difficult to harvest as long as your conversation's okay.
Hmm.
Again, high hanging fruit is not that difficult to harvest. Ladies,
Oh, I said my piece.
Statistically, I'm going to go into statistics
Yes.
because if you look at the history of marriage, marriage has always been to the benefit of men.
absolutely.
Daughters were sold off to conquer countries, to join companies, businesses, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's only in the last generation, in my lifetime, where women have been able to get bank accounts or credit cards in their own name. Even now in 2022, if a woman wants to go get a hysterectomy, a doctor will refuse if she's under a certain age because
Mm-hmm.
her future husband may want children. So it's not so much when we look at marrying down, is that we should be looking at that women are not valued for what they're truly worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Okay,
only
so
in this generation that women have the education, they have the financial backing that they put them, that we are now on equal footing.
okay, so I have no problem with that, but wouldn't you agree that women have benefited off of marrying up since the beginning of time? Come on.
Actually, single women live longer than married women. Married men live longer than single men. Marriage is
Is that
actually detrimental to women. Yes, sir.
Yes, I agree.
right? Can you actually, you throwing these numbers out, can you actually tell me exactly where that source is from? I knew you were
I
coming.
don't have my laptop, but I can give you pages of studies done by Harvard. It was at Harvard. One was done in Pennsylvania. One was done at Duke. This has been studied over and over again. The whole how marriage affects people, and women live longer when they're not married.
Because
So
we're
my
only taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So my question to you guys: have you guys ever dated down?
Yes,
Yeah.
for different reasons.
For different reasons?
I mean, I've
Do
dated
tell.
people who made less money than me, I guess, or not been at a certain level career wise. But I wasn't looking for those benefits out of that relationship, so to speak.
Right.
But yes.
Okay.
And I don't value people on their financial worth, so I don't consider it dating down. Because
Gotcha.
people are people.
More,
It's very. I don't like putting a number on somebody's worth, like saying, "Well, you make this job, so you're only worth this type of person." It's a very toxic thing to be doing when it comes to relationships.
exactly. I totally agree.
So, welcome, Bishop. Thank you for joining. So he said men don't value women's money and education. True.
Yeah.
Only women practice hypergamy. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think it's the things that we look for. Like I've never. Now I will say there is a dang Ursula's not on here now. There is a very different and specific special generation of men out here today now who look for a sugar mama.
I told you what, a couple of days ago. I don't know.
I'm just saying they
I don't know any
exist.
of those
I'm
guys.
telling you, they exist.
I'm more than sure they do.
They're hobosexuals. They're called
They're what?
hobosexuals.
Oh, okay.
They don't have they like go from like bed to bed or couch to couch.
Exactly.
So
And these days, the guys the pickings are so slim. Women are picking this up. They picking those guys up. They're picking those losers up. Come on, let's just be real.
No. I told you it would be me and the good Lord rocking it out.
Mm.
I'm just saying.
Women are picking. That's why the bitter taste in these women's mouths. They're picking up these losers.
Yeah, maybe.
They're picking up these losers.
Mark said, sounds like I think he must be talking about you, Coach D. He says, sounds like a bunch of raw numbers. Who has historically dated and married out? What are modern women know? What are modern women know doing as far as hypergamy? Mark, I need, go back and explain it. I don't know what you're saying. I think you had some, it's not coherent. But I'm trying to think.
Let's talk about who has statistically married up. We can go back to that and discuss how women weren't allowed to have jobs or get their own mortgages on their own house.
Wait. Bobby Brown married up.
Yeah.
If we're
technically, hold on a second. Wait a second. Technically,
social status type of thing.
Hold on a second. Technically, he didn't. This girl's from She was from East Orange, New Jersey. Straight from the
I'm
hood.
not talking about where she's from. I'm talking about where she was. I said financially.
Her mannerisms and everything. Okay, I got you. Financially,
I'm talking about, if you listen to what I say, sir, I said where she was financially and where she was career-wise, right? She brought him to a different level.
That's a negative as well. This boy went diamond. Oh,
one was off what? One album. How many albums did she have that like, come on, don't say that he had a better career. He had a better career than she did.
We're not speaking to career. We're not talking about career.
When was the last Bobby Brown? How many tours did Bobby Brown do solo?
He just came off a successful one with New Edition.
We're not talking about them. She's deceased. She's been deceased since they started that tour. And that tour still is nowhere near comparison to what her tours were when she was back in her heyday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. You really gonna sit here and say that he had one album that really, like, my prerogative.
In entertainment business, that's the wrong conversation to get in. I'm very fluent in it.
But it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter about you being fluent. Anybody can look and see that the woman was more successful in the music industry than he was, Trent. Like, you really gonna say he had a more successful music career as a solo artist than she did? I'm just asking.
That's not my gripe.
Because you know it's not true. So Bishop said, Coach, you're proving the point by saying women didn't have their own credit in house. That means women were of low value.
Were they of low value though? I was on Twitter and I was watching an argument go down, and this gentleman is a CEO with 6 kids, and he goes, "Yeah, I was able to do all this because of my scheduling." And somebody goes, "No, you were able to do this because you have a wife." Because you never, when you look at, and I can pull the numbers up and post them sometime, that they actually broke down how much a wife would earn if she was paid for all the jobs that she does, and it's well into the 6 figures.
Yeah, let's get to the topic of men marrying.
Women are undervalued, point blank.
I understand, but that's not the topic. Well, let's get that what Shannon was talking about when she asked the question. But the reason why this whole thing going into this bickering of the man and the woman, that all this other stuff, there's no conversation, no understanding between the two. You cannot tell me that they're not successful marriages where the man is actually married up.
We're not saying that. We never said that. That wasn't the topic.
But when it comes to marrying up, are we talking money?
No, I'm not talking about money.
As far as I think there's money is definitely involved in it.
Yeah, because what else? What else would be marrying up be? If it's not about money.
Social status. You still could have a very high.
You need money to have social status.
Yeah. So Mark said hypergamy is a term used in social science for the act of a person marrying a spouse of higher caste or social status than themselves.
Thank you.
Okay. And Bishop said a CEO can afford a housekeeper and to eat out every day like I do, way cheaper than a wife.
How much is a housekeeper?
Very interesting. I like that.
So how much is a housekeeper? How much eating out every day over a cost?
Where are you eating? I just want to mean where are we eating at?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Actually, I was able to do that at J. Alexander's every single day. Once I left my wife and my family.
I mean, I think is that a local spot? Like I don't know what J. Alexander.
J. Alexander's like $30 plates, $40 plates at lunchtime.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the norm today. Like I can go to Longhorn today.
No, I'm talking about back when.
Okay. Mark said it was once a truth universally acknowledged that a single woman would be in want of a prosperous husband. Marriage was the only way a woman determined her status in life. I mean, I do have historically, yes, I think that was. Now, I do see Coach D's point as far as the value. We're talking about marrying up versus the actual value, other than the money that or finances that a woman brings to the relationship. So those are two different things.
The problem now is society is men made all these rules about marriage, and now these rules do no longer apply because now women have equal footing. So the whole yes, don't even start shaking your head at me, sir. So
what I'm saying,
when we're looking at women, they're getting paid for their jobs that they're actually doing. They have the education. So marrying up now, if you take the social status has flipped because the vast majority of Black women are higher educated and higher paid than Black men. So men usually have to marry up. You don't really have that many options.
My question is, where are the guys who's having a problem with these women with higher standards, higher education? Where are those guys? I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I don't have a problem with dating an executive. I have no problem doing that. No problem at all. Hold on a second. Okay. I have no problem with that. I am not inferior to it. I'm not intimidated by it. I've always dated up. Always. Because I always had my own money.
Mm-hmm. Well, what were you dating up to?
I'm sorry.
What were you dating? Like, what were you dating up to? What was the up for you?
Yeah. The up for me, let's just say this for Morgan. The up for me was moving from a registered nurse to an executive.
We're
intelligence.
not leveling up where like Sierra went from Future to Russell's. What's Russell's last name? Russell Wilson.
Future's a bum.
Talking about leveling up, so to speak.
Future's a bum.
I mean, but I'm just saying that's the thing. Like, and I'm not saying that a registered nurse is a bum by any means, but I'm just saying you're talking about a nurse, and you're talking about career statuses. So that to me, that's not. I'm
talking about the mindset. This is ultimately I'm talking about the mindset. I'm talking about the conversation. I'm talking about the intellect.
So what are you saying about the two women? The difference between the two women's intellect, then?
I'm not comparing the two like that. What I'm saying, actually, at this point, hold on a second. Wait a second. I'm not saying that married to a nurse was horrible. No, it wasn't.
Right, I get that.
She actually now runs Children's Hospital in Houston. So I mean, everybody's level. She has a PhD, all this stuff. But I'm not comparing those two. I'm saying those women were great women and still are. So I don't see the problem in marrying up or dating up. You just have to know how to get to that level and go there with them.
I don't. No one has said that there's a problem, but you just said that you've always dated up. You said, and you used the example. Hold on. You used the example out of your mouth. One was I went from a registered nurse to an executive. So I'm like, when I asked you what was dating up or what was the up for you, and so you made a point to specify their professions between a registered nurse and an executive. And then you said it was about a mindset. So I'm like, what's the mindset difference where you're saying one was obviously inferior to the other. Am I Dee? Did I hear something? I mean, do you understand what
I'm with you because I'm confused as heck. I'm
confused on what you're saying. I'm just trying to get clarification based on what you just said.
Again, both women were great women, still are great women.
I love when you like to deflect because you don't have an answer to the question.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So explain what you meant by they had a different intellect, because that's where I'm stuck at. Because the intellect comment is like, wait a second, I know nurses who are a heck of a lot brighter than some CEOs I know.
I understand that, but it was a different realm. It was a different level of conversation between the two. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna downgrade Mike's wife. I'm not gonna do that.
No, you were the one that introduced that. So you said it. So we're just asking questions.
It was just a different grade of conversation. Let's just leave it at that. It was a different grade of conversation.
Mr. Williams, are you going to let me talk? Or are you going to talk over me again tonight?
Go ahead.
Okay. Nobody is saying that you have to. We get both of them are your ex-wives. You're not going to be trying to on your podcast sit here and say one was better than the other. I get that. Let's just put that out there and be very clear and transparent and upfront about that. We don't care about that. We're not asking you that. You introduced something specific about each one of them into the conversation. So we want to know when you said that the intellect was different. And that it was an upgrade or a date up or a move up for you going from a registered nurse to an executive. We're questioning you on that. You said that, not us. We're just questioning that.
Again, I'll clear it up. I say this.
You don't have to respond because I don't want you to get put into a position and certain people listen to the podcast and get pissed off at you. That's not the intent here. But if you're not going to follow through and be prepared to answer questions, then don't bring it up, is all I'm going to say. Love you at the love of
anyway, but both of them were wonderful women.
Hey, Ursula, welcome. Yes, we know they're both wonderful women, and we get that. And they're both the mothers. Each one of them is a mother of one of your children. We get that. We ain't trying to cause no problems here.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem. You got it. Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I could be a little difficult.
Y'all don't understand. People want to sit in here, and I've had people say, "Why you go in on Trent like that?" Y'all just don't know Trent.
Lord,
just don't know. You don't like. This is just a little taste. Y'all want to sit up here and act like we got to have all this sympathy for this man because he want to get on here and talk about his condition when it's convenient for him. But he know how to do what he do, and he
actually, my conditions actually trouble me. That's why I was stumbling.
I just need you to stop. But anyway, I know Mark is going to get me. He says, so where was Nippy at financially? Here's her status. Let's not get it effed up. Oh, he cussed. Did I make you cuss tonight, Mark?
Because you're talking entertainment. You're talking all talk.
He was further along at the point when they married. We're not talking about. Let's all. Even so. Bring me the numbers, Mark. Bring me the numbers. Just bring the numbers.
Oh, he's still coming.
He said, what would happen? He said, pull it up. What would happen if I don't know? He says, now we're speaking on fantasy opinion. It's not a fantasy opinion, sir. It's not. Mr. said, the men who are intimidated by a successful woman are the men those women don't want anyway. The men they want don't usually want them. Ooh.
That's a good point.
That, sir.
That's good. Who's Bishop? Is that your friend or something?
Mm-hmm. Actually, that's who I got the topic from.
Appreciate that, Bishop. Thank you, man. Good to see you on the podcast. Good stuff.
The men who are intimidated by a successful woman are the men those women don't want anyway. That's
so let's dig a little deep into Bishop's comment about the maid, hiring the housekeeper, being single. Let's get to that. Let's dig into that.
What about it?
I want to hear you guys, ladies, respond. Y'all walk clean over that.
I mean, I didn't really think much of it. Like, I'm sorry.
I said then get a maid.
I mean,
apparently y'all didn't like Bishop's comment. Y'all didn't like that.
I just moved right over.
Yeah, I didn't.
But those are straight facts. So let's be clear.
And guess what? I can live longer without having to cook and clean up after your ass too.
Yeah, exactly.
Or nursing you in there with a cold and thinking you dying from Ebola or something. Like, no.
That is hilarious.
Next.
That is hilarious.
I don't know what you were expecting. Were you expecting us to go, oh my, no, please? And
No, I mean, I wanted to know what you guys thought about the comment by Bishop. Because it was very on time. It was very factual.
You saw what
Yeah.
we thought because we didn't spend time on it.
Yeah, I don't think about men who make comments like that. I just keep it moving.
Mark, did the able date or marry up? Who's the able?
What?
I don't, Mark. Like, Mark, help me out here tonight. Now, did the able?
So what was Bishop's? I'm sure his thought process on marrying up. So is he single? Is Bishop single, or is he?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. He's from the Atlanta area, I'm sure.
Yes.
I feel sorry for you, brother. I feel sorry for you.
Look, it's great. I don't know why you feel sorry. It's great for men in Atlanta. There's 50 million women to one man. They got the pivotal.
Yeah.
We got the. I'm not even gonna confess that.
I've had a few from over there.
I don't have crumbs.
I've had a few from over there. So
we know you have, sir. We know you get around.
Not now. Knock it off. Now you stop trying to create that narrative. No, it's not like that. Not anymore.
Back in your day, you got around. So we
back in the day, yeah.
Okay, that's all we said.
Back in the day. My current condition, I can't do those things anymore.
Oh Lordy.
You feel my pain.
So
that's why we get along so well, because neither one of us put up with it. Yeah, I get you, man. Don't worry, I got you. So going back to marrying down or marrying up,
good stuff.
Basically, people are you can't say you're marrying down or marrying up without having a financial point to it, because social status it's all about money.
But let's not. In my case, right? We both have.
Be careful, because if you go back there, we're gonna start revisiting that intellect thing. And
now we're not gonna do it. Dee, stop it, please. Dee knows a little more than what she's saying, so knock it off. Dee, don't do that. But anyway, so
I'll cover you on it. You know that.
So my question is: so what if both parties come with money, and one partner is actually marrying up? It doesn't have to do with doesn't have to do with finances at all. In the case of Romelo and Mogan, that didn't have anything to do with finances. The money looked good together. I'll tell you that.
Who made more money?
Coming in, Romelo did.
Okay. So I guess it also depends on what your definition or what you're defining is the key part of what marrying up or marrying up. Is it financial piece? Is it the social, the social status or whatnot or something like that? So
there you go.
So if we're talking just the financial component, then did she marry up? Did Morgan marry up then? If it's just the financial,
She did pretty good marrying Romelo. She really did.
Okay.
But it wasn't about the finances at all. It wasn't about the finances. It looked good together. Mm-hmm. They operated as a team, a well-oiled team. They really did. So it had nothing to do with the finances. But I would be sitting here lying and saying that I didn't think about it. I did think about it, because I was like, wow, this would be real good. We put both us together. It would be a power thing.
So you thought about the business part of it.
I absolutely did, and implemented it. Both of us. Actually, when I spoke with her, we both implemented it together. That's the key to this togetherness.
Okay. All right. Well, it's 30 after the hour. I think now will be a good time for a break or a pause for the cause.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. We'll be right back, folks. We'll be right back.
I'm like a whole.
the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
Welcome back to Conversations with Trent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're online and want to be a part of tonight's topic, you can do that by dialing 347-324-5327. Press the number 1 to get into the queue so that your voice can be added to tonight's conversation. Now, let's get back to the show.
Good stuff. That's some wonderful. Go ahead.
I may have to run out early because Xavier's coming home sick. So as soon as he gets home, I'm going to move into mommy mode.
Gotcha.
We're both going to be departing early.
They're going to be departing.
Question, and I've got to hop off. I'm heading out of town early in the morning. I've got to get some things taken care of. So, Mr. Epic, you might be doing your thing like you used to do.
No, we're not going to do that tonight. I'm not prepared for that.
No problem. Oh, so that means you need us.
Okay, they're on their way back. So.
Not quite, but go ahead. You answering this question?
Did you just say not quite?
You answer Mark's question. I'm just being a smart.
Oh my God! Why is this so hard for you? Okay, never mind. Mark said, "Did the panel date or marry up or both?" I think when I got married, we were pretty much we on equal. I mean, we were pretty much on equal footing. He may have made a little bit more than I did, but I was a little bit more ambitious than he was. So I kind of moved past him, so to speak. We both worked for the same company at the time. So I took a different career path than he did. But yeah, I think we were pretty much on equal footing when we got together, when we started dating. But I have dated, if we're talking about monetary, with the financial component, I have dated men who have made less money than I have. Yes.
Mm-hmm. How did that work out?
I mean, we're not together, but it had nothing to do with the money.
It's not how to act. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, it's never about the money. Like,
Technically, now people are not going to like this because I'm from another country. So people would tell me I dated down because I dated Americans.
Hey, D, I would love you to tell the Americans why you're saying that. I know exactly why you're saying this. So
yes. Oh my God.
Tell the other Americans why you're saying that.
Because of the culture is different, the cultural differences. Even though my dad's American, because of the cultural distance, where there, you don't have universal health care, you don't have all the stuff we have back home. So now here's what the interesting part is. Because I had to immigrate, I had to start over from scratch. Because when you become an immigrant, I have a foreign education, even though it's from Canada. So your credit score has to start all over again, everything. So technically he then married down, even though I have like my IQ and all that stuff, that my capabilities and my education and everything, because I immigrated, it automatically socially dropped me down from where I was in Canada.
Mm. Wow. The whole country is trashed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I wish I could share some of the conversations Dee and I have had over the years about this country, but I'm not going to put her out there like that.
Well, Elizabeth,
you're basically saying
you can blame my father because he's like, I never wanted my child raised in America.
We've got a new viewer
because of the situation being, it's a different being raised as a black woman in Canada
Mhm.
is different than being a black
Amen.
woman in America.
And I have to tell you, and I'm going to say this, and I've never told Dee this. I've never spoken this to Dee, but even with like dating her when I did, that was a level up for me. Her
Mhm.
intellect is immaculate.
Oh, well, we can tell that now. We already knew that. Anyway, welcome, Lanya Blanks. We have a new viewer. She said, "Hi, Trent."
Hey, Lon. Actually, that's Cubs Couch out of St. Louis, Missouri. Who
Nice.
got my first booking back to go out there and speak at her event.
Nice. So,
Cubs
Mark said
Yeah,
he's not at
you mentioned
lunch.
that last time.
Yes. Mark said he's not at lunch tonight, so I guess that's why he's in and out with us. Bishop said he said the reason I brought up marrying down for men is because black women always talk about not wanting to settle these days. Men have always had to settle, but we don't complain about it. And yes, he did. So let me clarify, because I know he and I had the conversation, and he brought up that comment based on the whole settle thing, that because I did use the word settle, but for me, the settle does not have the financial component. Is not the financial component. It's more the character type of things for me. The not cheating, not lying, all those type of things.
Right.
Like I said, it's never been about the financial piece for me. For me, with when I've dated anyone, I just have happened to attracted and dated men who were pretty financially stable and able to take care of themselves, right? But settle for me is not about somebody and their status with money, house, car, all of that. No, it's more about all those intangible things.
Yeah, like I dated a garbage man, sanitation worker. My correction, whose emotional IQ and like intelligence level was through the roof. He had a Mensa card, and people would look down on him because he collected garbage. But you know what? That is just something he liked to do. He wrote books and everything on the side, and he just needs something to get him out of the house and do something. So people would look down at this guy, and then I would read. He had like published things in medical journals and stuff. I'm like, wow. Hell? And then you talk to, like, I dated basketball players who had lots of money and not a brain in their head. You know,
or they were just sugar honey people.
They were pretty but not bright.
Yeah, that and they didn't have.
What do you guys think about this? Tammy Gator sent this over to me, and I actually shared it in the group from this guy, Stephen Keepers. Men are also allowed to not prefer you because you don't have a car, a house, and you have no money.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that you should be asking or expecting for someone what you're not willing to bring or
exactly.
If you're not willing to be honest and open with someone, I don't think that you should be expecting or have standards that somebody else is going to be honest and transparent or open with you.
Yeah.
No. I don't think it's realistic or fair for you to expect from others what you don't already possess.
I absolutely agree. So
in the process, things are in the process of trying to obtain.
Yeah, that's straightforward.
So Vicious says selling for me isn't just financial either, but the other aspects are too subjective to debate. We might need to continue this.
I totally agree. Hey, Bishop, you're welcome to come on to the conversation and have a conversation with these ladies and myself. As you can see, it's one-sided most of the time with me.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, with that being said, I have had a joyous and amazing time. I did have to hop off early because I do have to get prepared for an early morning flight. Yes, it has been a pleasure as always, Coach D.
Nice to have a safe flight.
Thank you, Mr. Epic. Whatever. It was good seeing you. No, I'm just playing. No, it was a great conversation. And thank you, Bishop, for the amazing topic tonight. We may have to continue it. And I second that. I think you should definitely come on if you're up to it and have a conversation with us on the show.
Absolutely. More than welcome, Bishop.
All right. Good night, everyone. I'll see you guys Sunday.
Good stuff.
Good night.
Real good. Okay. So, Dee.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you passed a comment during text when we were actually chatting. You spoke on karma.
Mm-hmm.
You tell and explain to the viewers what you were speaking of.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about that whole different thing. So karma, I don't like to use the word karma because karma is very specific to a religion, between Hinduism and Buddhism. So a lot of people like to say that karma is what goes out comes back, but there's actually different specifics depending on the religion. Karma denotes a cycle of cause and effect, where each action will affect him or her at some time. However, a person's thoughts and words and actions that people take under those considerations also come into play. And then with karma, because it's specific to a specific set of religions, it also has a relationship between actions and consequences and the moral reactions and the intentions behind the actions. So like you'll see all the people who will donate to charity for likes on TikTok or Facebook.
Right.
So technically doing a good thing to impress somebody is actually what can be considered immoral and bad, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. You have it in the Bible, like faith without works is dead. But so karma also has this huge thing where it's wrapped up with the concept of reincarnation and rebirth.
Right.
And so when somebody's born into another body after death, then the actions in a previous life could affect their future life. So I don't like to use the word karma because there's so much religious connotation to a culture that that I'm not part of. So I consider like cultural appropriation to use karma. And instead I say I believe that what I put into the universe comes back, which gets tricky because when you look at African voodoo or Southern hoodoo or like witchcraft, then there's some have rules of what you put out comes back in 3, like in Celtic witchcraft. Right. So it's very religious based about the whole your actions have reactions. So a lot depends on what religion you follow, how you actually believe in it. So I try to tell people not to use the word karma because it's not part of your religion.
Gotcha.
Let's like you'll see people.
So which word would you suggest them that they use?
I would we have violence begets violence, right? Or what goes around comes around. What you put out there comes back. So I like to say that if you put out good energy, then good energy will come back.
It's gonna come back to you, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't use the word karma because it belongs to a religion that I don't belong to, basically, and I don't follow their religion, so I can't talk about karma if I'm not incorporating the full understanding of which includes the rebirth and everything.
Exactly.
So
I'm glad you cleared it up, because actually, ladies and gentlemen, that came from a comment, or Dee actually expunged on it. That came from a comment from a viewer from over Twitch, and they spoke on karma. That's what triggered that thought from Dee. So good stuff, real good stuff.
Yeah. So struggle love is I think that people need to find people who have the equal emotional intelligence.
That's the word right there.
And I find that if you can do that, your relationship, regardless of how much money anybody is, there's no really up or down, because that emotional intelligence is the great equalizer. Exactly.
And that's what I was trying to get at. I was attempting to get at as far as with that. I struggle with, if I cannot, I'm a very sapiosexual type person. Mm-hmm. I love being stimulated. And mm-hmm. if that conversation going anywhere other than stimulate me, I have an issue with it. I get bored, I get dismissive and everything, because I'm not being stimulated. So I cannot have a conversation with, let's just say a girlfriend of mine. I cannot have a conversation with someone who loves Real House, and she's having a conversation with me talking about the Kardashians. I space out. Mm-hmm. I can't understand. I cannot comprehend that. I can't fathom even having a conversation with someone like that.
Yeah,
it's a complete turnoff for me. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about leveling up in relationships or what have you. Even with Morgan, it was a level up intellectual. It was a serious level up.
Yeah. I think
those type of conversation wouldn't be had in my household.
Yeah, I think the issue that confused me was that the jobs were put in there, which threw me because
right. I see that.
Because for me, what you do for a living means absolutely nothing to me because who you are as a person is completely different. And I told that to somebody who worked for NASA, and he's like, "But I'm literally a rocket scientist." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. So you're smart.
Right.
What are you?"
Right. Well, I'm glad I was able to actually explain that on this side of the break, because the high level of intelligence and conversation that we have still to this day.
Yeah.
She and I just had a conversation earlier about this topic.
Yeah.
The high level of conversation that we have is still unmatched.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, even with the conversation with you, you and I could talk for hours at a time. We've done that in the past and still continue to do that because the high level of your intelligence, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what it is. Those are two amazing women. So, like, that's why I was like, wait a second, sir. We need to figure this out because something's not adding up here.
Exactly.
Because
honestly, this is the one time I'll blame it on my condition. You know, my memory gets jogged.
Yeah. All right. I'll let it go this
Well,
time.
you know, exactly. You know,
I'm just keeping you honest because I know more. So, yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what? I think people too often relationships get so caught up on the money aspect that they forget about all the other stuff that goes into it. Because you know what? Like the garbage man I dated, he absolutely worshipped the ground I walked on. Like, it was like he was amazing.
Right.
Think about it. And people were like, well, he's a garbage man. I'm like, and? You know, it's just, we get so caught up in titles and social status that we forget that these are people.
Exactly.
And so,
hey, Mark, no, we didn't close on the topic. I just wanted to get that out there because Dee and I were having a conversation offline about the whole karma thing. I thought it was interesting to follow up with the Twitch viewer, so that's why we brought it in. Yeah. But now we're still on topic. But yeah, I totally get that, man. So the garbage guy, right? Well, sanitation worker.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked about him before. I vaguely remember you speaking on him.
Yeah, but and you know what? It's I have been blessed with knowing some really amazing guys in my lifetime. Like it didn't always work out. Oh Lord, it didn't always work out with all of them for specific reasons, but it depends on where we were in our lives and where was going on. So, you know, garbage guy wanted to settle down. I did not. I still wanted to travel the world and all kinds of stuff. So that was never going to work. And everybody that you learn and you meet and learn from helps you become a better person and more rounded. And I'm all about experiences and life. And if you stick to dating the exact same type of person all the time, which is why I tell people, be careful with your lists, because your list, if you're not done all your work, your list will get you the exact same guy all the time.
So let me break down the whole Romelo and Mogan from the chapter the Delta book. Mm-hmm. The difference between Romelo and Mogan, and the reason why I said that Romelo married up, is because she introduced him to a very high level of intellect, a very high level of everything, a mixture of everything. And I was able to navigate through this life moving forward, still to this day. Mm-hmm. I started owning businesses. I had the money back then and still wasn't owning anything. Yeah. But after my relationship, my marriage with her, I was able to create structure. She created structure for me.
Right.
That's what I meant by leveling up, marrying up. She created structure for me. She taught me structure. Right. I had the money, but didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that's very common. And I think, and once you take that money aspect out and leveling up is about like somebody who can build, somebody who does this, somebody that, it changes the entire aspect of what up and down is. Because so many people are still caught up with monetary value and placing monetary value on people because of a job or how much money they home in a check.
And that, to be honest with you, that's where the relationship was very special at, because it did not start about money. It wasn't even about money.
Yeah.
But the people around us knew we had it and they thought that's what it was. But we talked about this today. And the relationship was so sacred because we were friends.
Right.
And you know why the relationship fizzled out, because of the whole
Oh yeah.
the whole thing. You already know that.
It is
But
what it is. Yeah.
and I asked her could I speak on that today, and she told me yes I could. But
Yeah.
she had postpartum. She had a problem postpartum. She got diagnosed very late, and it destroyed our marriage. But she was a wonderful, wonderful wife and a wonderful friend.
Yeah.
I say that with all due respect, and this is the first time I'm actually speaking on this. Dee knew this for a number of years, what that situation was. I never spoke on it. I asked her today, could I speak on it? Because when I wrote that book, it kind of gave her a bad rap because I didn't discuss that issue because I
Right.
didn't think that was no one's business. But she
But
was
when you add that, it makes it a whole different. It's a whole different conversation.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So we after we spoke today, we talked about the leveling up. So she was like, "Bud," she said, I level up when I met you because you gave me balance.
Yeah.
You brought balance into my life, and that's the first time we were able to speak on that and talk about that. And it was a wonderful conversation, very wonderful conversation. So even though we had the money, we didn't look at it like other people looked at it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about the money for us. It
Mhm.
was about the love we shared. It's about the friendship we had.
Yeah.
That's what it was, leveling up for me and for her. That's where we leveled up with each other.
Money corrupts everything
It
it
really
touches.
does.
It corrupts everything it touches. Like I had a friend who just got married 2 weeks ago, and people were talking about how she married down. Wait, let me get this right. I'm trying to remember what he said at the wedding. He said that he married up because she has more money, but she married down not because of the money, but because he's not as bright as she is. And I was like, okay, well but she's absolutely brilliant. She's a civil
Right.
rights lawyer, and he's bright too, but he makes more money than she does simply because of what she doesn't pay well.
Exactly.
And I'm like, this is like, if you look at them without the money or the jobs, they're equal.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's, if we could talk about relationships without money or social status, we could probably solve a lot more problems.
But don't you agree that today in today's climate,
Mhm.
that's what it all with the average woman. Let's say average woman.
Yeah.
That's like when you and I were dating. You never even brought up money. You would actually come in from Canada, and
Sure.
we spent most of our time at my place cooking and enjoying each other, having great conversation, and having wonderful dinners, and that was cool.
Yeah, and we go to the art museum or stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Simple stuff. But don't you think that in today's climate, the way, women and men are focusing on the dollar,
Mhm.
that's what the problem is.
Yeah. Because society nowadays, you have to, I hate to say it, but because it is so expensive to live and raise a family, you do have to focus on the dollar, because who wants to struggle raising a family? Like I had to Xavier. I was telling you I bought summer camp. Now I have to wonder if he's going to be able to go to summer camp because he's sick, and spend like $300 for a week
Right.
just for camp, and then add on like another week, and there's more camp clothes, and there's camp food, and there's camp accessory, and it's just like it gets expensive fast. So if you don't have the available funds, raising kids gets very expensive very fast.
Exactly.
And
You know what? I got an idea.
What?
Let's drag this conversation into Sunday. Let's talk about what you just said about the dollar piece to it, the money piece to it.
Okay.
That'll be a wonderful conversation.
About struggle love or
Struggle love. That's a perfect title. Struggle love. Exactly.
yeah, because struggle love is not just about money; it's about equally balanced emotionally as well.
Exactly.
Okay,
Now,
do that. I'm gonna have to run because I just heard the Ring doorbell go, so they just pulled into the driveway.
it's actually 7:56. We're gonna get out of here for the night, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. So D, I'll talk to you, and you guys be epic.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we're gonna close out tonight. actually running up on 8 p.m. So we're going to have that conversation, Struggle Love, on Sunday. I think it's a wonderful topic to actually bring it back, and we're going to drag this conversation into it so we can actually finish off this conversation as well with the marrying up. Because I think there are different components to that, and we could actually make that happen. We're going to make that happen on Sunday, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Same station, same time, Taylor Kennedy Media. You guys be epic.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.